you know, I mean, because I'm on that.
It says record. Now it's in red.
27.
Okay, so you're recording already.
Okay.
And then my own personal page.
So we're recording.
Yeah.
And what I
Okay,
noticed
so let me
about a few
move
weeks
this
before
out of the way. So now we have the full
you know when
screen.
you're on your phone and you can say, you know, post a story to a group or to a page.
Okay, so I got the full
All of a
screen.
sudden that page.
And it is recording. So I guess.
What happened to my phone that's not there? And then it would appear. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't.
Okay, so it's using this camera. Okay then.
So I don't know.
Okay.
If it's Facebook Messenger. There, I think
And so when I stop,
Right.
I'll just
And then
put
maybe
file
we
and stop.
sharing. So we're trying to post.
Yeah.
We post a lot of stuff people
Okay.
don't. Right.
Talk to you later.
It's probably the Democrats. Hey, who are you gonna vote for? Got about 10 people in. He's running for mayor. Daddy wants to.
Oh, okay, he's ready for mayor. Well, that's the one I know for mayor.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, because, you know, Kate, so like somebody told me, Kate would just be another Hillary.
Yeah.
I mean, Danny's, you know, Danny's not,
She was at St. Mary's one time,
she went to St. Mary's.
when the bishop was there.
Is she Catholic?
She went to, I don't know.
I saw her at St. Mary's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So do you
Any left, George?
what camera?
Yeah, because I'm still off Facebook, so we're gonna have to use your
Okay.
phone. Sorry. I saw the girls. I'm gonna try to get it done this week.
You're on a Facebook.
But the city council.
Hi, George.
Oh, remember Nancy and Ellen? He's in his old world.
So what about the city council?
The city council, are you in District 8 also?
Yes.
So we've got about 10 people running. So when Kate stepped down, that
Uh-huh.
left her seat open.
Yeah.
Right.
So Michael Johnson's running, Warren Stewart Jr., Lawrence Robinson.
Well, he sounds good. Stuart Junior, he's
Well,
probably,
that's who I'm leaning towards.
right? He's
Because-
spoken at the rallies, I know, but we can never get him. We wanna try to get him to help with 40 days, and we can never.
So would I
get
put
him to
post?
Try to follow up on
So put,
the son.
The sun.
walk on tonight.
No.
Oh.
Do I put
Oh,
post?
how to put on, I'm sorry. We can even get started early if you want. Okay, so publish.
Okay.
And then you can do live video.
Okay. Live video. Oh,
And
okay.
you can see what this file is gonna be.
Okay. Well,
My husband bought this little thing at the dollar store.
Wow, cool.
It's the dollar store.
That's, oh, sure, that's impressive.
He finds the coolest stuff. You know what he buys there? Vegetables. They have very fresh
Yeah.
vegetables.
I found cauliflower rice the one time.
okay. How many? Where would everybody
Is that,
gonna
oh,
sit?
let me go sit and see. Okay, if I sit here, can you see everything? Okay, let's see. I'm gonna give Ellen enough room. for her
I'll be
foot.
fine, I can get where.
Okay, so you wanna put the other chair next to you?
Yeah, so let's see. What?
I probably need you to sit over there
Come
so I
over here
can.
and sit down, girls. Maybe Ellen, maybe you come over here. You might have a little more room and you can put your foot up on that chair.
Okay. Getting up is always an
And
issue.
then, George, I might bring Nancy over here, and then you could sit next to Nancy. Go. I'm gonna have to straddle that. Let me see. Does
That's
that will that
good.
work? And
Yeah,
then if you want
works
to put your
great.
foot up on the chair,
Yeah.
okay?
Thank you.
To do that. And then
Okay,
can we
well, I got
squeeze you
everybody
in here?
there. I won't be able to come out there. But only.
Yeah, what if we, here,
Scoot in
oh, stay
closer.
right there, and then you can be right here. You sit over there and I'll see if you're in there.
See, I don't think it's gonna. Come over here. I mean, on that it does, but not over here. That's YouTube.
Actually, yeah, I think you're coming. Let's see.
Joyce.
Ellen, move my chair a little bit closer to you.
Okay.
And then Nancy, you move over on that. And then George, move back and move it in. I think that will get you in. Okay, watch. Come check it out, George. I'm gonna sit where you're gonna sit.
You got 15 minutes.
You can see, yeah. We're just gonna be nice and cozy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, see?
We've been cozy before,
Yeah.
right?
Remember that little tiny room? Steve Palmer was talking to me today, and he said, "Who's gonna be on your show?" I said, "Nancy Brady." Oh yeah, that's when we were in the closet. I remember Nancy. And I'm thinking, okay, now I know what you mean. You're talking about.
Sit back down over there.
In the closet.
Perfect.
It really was the closet that you
Perfect.
converted.
Well, go ahead and sit down again. Let me just move it just slightly. I'll come and get more of her. There you go.
So if you sit
Perfect.
over here,
Yeah, that's the
I
YouTube.
think we'll get everybody in.
And then this one is perfect too. Good.
So are we
Um,
live on Facebook now?
Why don't? Now I gotta move it again.
Okay, I'll stay here so you can position.
I forgot. So.
And you can move the chair if you need to move the chair. That helps you.
I think it's this one. This is. Nope. Oh, it's live. It's live.
It's live? Okay, we're live. Okay, so if you're watching us on Facebook, we're live. And thank you very much. We might just start early, huh? Oh, we're live on Facebook, George. We could start. So hang tight. And if you want, what we'd love for you to do, if you're watching us on Facebook or the Chips and Salsa Show, please share this on your own profile. Because the more people that watch, the better for us. And we're going to have a great show tonight. We have Nancy Brady and Ellen, give me your last name, I'm sorry. Sweeney. Sorry about that. Ellen Sweeney with 40 Days for Life. And of course, George will be here. He's going to sit right here. And we're going to have a show. I think we'll start maybe, we can start, want to start early?
No.
He's got his Trump shirt on.
Can you get in
I'm
here?
fine. I'm great. In the first part, we're not going to do a lot of politics because Ellen and Nancy are here for a, you can say non-political. We'll do the politics later on the pro-life issue.
Okay.
We'll do that, not a problem, because there is a lot of stuff going on with that right now, as you know. While George is adjusting that, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of make some announcements maybe. What do you think, George? I can do that? I'm Alice Lara, and this is the Chips and Salsa Show. My co-host, Don Jorge Ortiz, is coming here. Look at him with his Trump shirt.
Don Jorge, la lacran.
Yeah, and I'm going to give a disclaimer. You know, we've got our Trump sign up. We've got our show sign up. But like I say, the first part of the show, we're really kind of not talking all political stuff. So no worries. I want to make some announcements. Lots of stuff going on in Arizona as far as activities. Our good friend, Reverend Clyde Bowen, he is going to have his Freedom ePod 7, and that's scheduled for February 23rd. So not this weekend, but next weekend. And that's at East Lake Park. That's 15149 East Jefferson in Phoenix. So remember, we're broadcasting from Phoenix. But, you know, if you don't live in Phoenix, maybe you want to come up for it. Who knows? We're going to have the speakers will be Barry Wong, Governor Doug Ducey's proclamation, AZGOP chair, our brand new chairwoman, Dr. Kelly Ward, will be there. Also, the I don't want to mess this up, George. If I mess it up, tell me. It's Arizona American African Republican Committee Vice Chairman, Dr. C.T. Wright. We also have the new Maricopa County Chair, Ray Chornenke, will be there too. Legislative District 23 Representative Jay Lawrence, our State Treasurer, Kimberly Yee, and also from Legislative District 6, Representative and Bronze Star awardee, Walt Blackman. And he's awesome. And yes, he happens to be black. He's got a great name. I just love that his name is Blackman. And he is a Republican in our state legislature. So if you're interested, you can contact Reverend Bowen at AAARC, the number 6, at CenturyLink.net. That's AAARC, the number 6, at CenturyLink.net. And I'll make another announcement, then we can just get started with the show. What do you think, George?
Yeah.
All right. I also want to tell you that if you are in my hood, in the South Mountain area, South Phoenix, on Saturday there is a Levine barbecue, and that's over at Caesar Chavez Park. And that's going to be, I think it's kind of like an all-day event. And you can go to Levine, LAVEEN, BBQ.com. I would love for you to go because our legislative district, that's 27 down here, we're going to be there. We're going to have a table, a booth, and you can talk to the different precinct committeemen that will be there. I think Bruce Lindquist is going to be down there. Our chairwoman, brand new, Tracy Ireland. I'm going to try to stop by. I don't know if I can. I may. Maybe Nancy's going to be there. Who knows? Maybe Ellen stop by too. And we will have information about our LD if you'd like to be a precinct committeeman. We're also having a drawing for a firearm, and it's an awesome one. It's great. The tickets are very reasonable. So check us out. Please go down there and say hi and tell them that the Chips and Salsa Show sent you. We would appreciate that. So again, that's this Saturday. And what else did I want to tell you about? And then we always have our Legislative District 27 meeting, and that's every second Tuesday of the month in the evening, and that's at the Mountain Gate Clubhouse. It's just right over here on 15th Avenue and Dobbins. All Republicans are welcome. And if you have any questions for us, maybe you have a guest you'd like to recommend, maybe you'd like to be on the show, maybe you have a topic for us, please contact us. You can contact me, and that will be Alice, ALICE, at chips, letter N, salsashow.com. Alice at chips, letter N, salsashow.com. So, we also have, let's see, last week we had the crew guys here, that's College Republicans United. They had their meeting every Monday night. And, I have one more thing, and then we'll get started, I promise, okay? So, this is Black History Month, right? And our good friend Cindy Love is putting this together. It's a voter information panel. And it's going to be at the Greyhawk Community Association Talon Room entrance on the east side of the building in Scottsdale, 7940 East Thompson Peak Parkway. Dr. C.T. Wright will be there. And he is also chairman of the Arizona Board of Executive Clemency, and that's the parole board. That's what that is. Also, our good friend James T. Harris, radio host from News Talk KFYI 550. He's going to be on the panel as well. Always a great speaker. So you should attend if you're a registered voter and you're interested in supporting President Donald J. Trump's agenda to keep America great, which we have a nice banner, George. Like that color. Woohoo! And we want to keep Arizona red, obviously, too. So it's free. You can go. And you do need to RSVP, though. So let me get you an email. You can call Cindy Love. I don't know if she wants to give me to give her phone number, so I'm going to give you her email. That's CYNDILOVE, love, 02@gmail.com. That's CYNDI, Cindy, love, LOVE, 02@gmail.com. So lots of stuff going on, and we want to keep you informed. And so now I think we'll get started with our show, right? Okay.
Yes.
We're here every Thursday night at 7 p.m., the Chips and Salsa Show. And this is our 5th year we're starting, George.
And we're doing from different locations. Right now we're at this location, but we have it to where we're mobile now. We don't have to just be in one studio. We can be anywhere and do the show. And for the last few weeks we've been here, and we're going to be here for a few more, probably, I don't know, until we find another location. We're
taking on the road.
Yeah, on all year. This is like on the road radio, and it's the best because you don't always see the same thing over and over and over. So I think you'll like it.
Yeah, and so we're going to get started with our show. We are so pleased to have back our good friends Ellen Sweeney and Nancy Brady, who are with 40 Days for Life. These are committed women to the pro-life movement, and which George and I are very, very pro-life. A lot of things are going on right now, and no matter what you feel, and if you're not a pro-life person, I would still love if you would watch our show. And maybe you have a question, you can go on Facebook. We're a little bit limited because I'm still off Facebook. I'm still kicked off, but I'm going to try. I can't monitor it, so I'm sorry if you have questions, but we'll get to you later after the show. We promise to do that. So, Nancy, why don't you open it up And for those who maybe don't know much about this movement and what you do 40 Days for Life, let them know. Give them a bio.
Hi, thank you, Alice. So I actually began working actively in pro-life with 40 Days for Life back in 2009, and so since that time, I've been participating with 40 Days for Life, and then Ellen and I started leading the 40 Days for Life Phoenix campaign back in 2013 in the fall, and so we're getting ready to start again. For our spring campaign, and I'm just really excited. This is a worldwide movement. It started out in one town in Texas, and it just spread around the world. So simultaneously, twice a year, we have campaigns, and so we have people praying, offering, fasting, and doing community outreach. And so this is just really an exciting time for us in the pro-life movement.
And I didn't know anything about this until a few years ago when I stopped after Mass and they had some information there at the booth. And I thought, that's so wonderful because unfortunately abortion is legal in these United States, but we can pray. We can pray to end it. And I couldn't find my button tonight. I apologize. I have a shirt or button, but it's too cold to wear my t-shirt. But it's so awesome. And I've kind of used that for other things too, because a lot of times there's things beyond your control. I'm driving and there's a homeless person or a dead animal or something, and you think, you can say a prayer, but I mean, if you could say, even while you're watching this after the show or now, if you could say a little prayer for the unborn, that would be awesome. That would be great. So Ellen, I want to turn to you and you can tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your
Okay.
involvement.
I got involved in the pro-life movement actually in 1973 when Roe v. Wade was legalized. I was only 14. I was in high school here locally at St. Mary's, and they started a Youth for Life club. And back then, some unbelievably 46 years ago, it's hard to believe that we'd still be fighting the battle today, because I remember the thought initially, this can't be legal. But unfortunately it is. And so I've been involved ever since. And when 40 Days for Life came along, it just seemed like a natural progression. And 40 Days for Life has proven to be truly of God, because there have been 100 abortion clinics that have closed since the beginning. I think we're in our 10th year. And that's by praying, fasting, and doing public outreach. So we like to say it's the beginning of the end of abortion. We will always have abortion with us, but we want to make it unthinkable.
Yeah. I become really encouraged because in talking to some of our younger folk, we had them here last weekend, and it's very encouraging because they talk about science is out there now, and people are becoming more educated and being able to see that little baby that's in the womb that for a long time they said, oh, there's really nothing there. And when the kids, I'll call them kids because they're very much younger than I am, the young people, and they were talking about it, George. And it's really exciting to me because I think that's going to turn things around.
I think so. I'm very hopeful, although, there's still I'm kind of speechless sometimes at the attitudes of a lot of the young people of the millennial generations, that the generation that they have, because they're not looking at science. They're not, unfortunately, but the hope is that we do encounter so many young people. If you look at the Walk for Life, if you look at the March for Life that happens, it's just there's so many young people that are willing to gather and are willing to do something, and so that gives me inspiration just to keep doing what I'm doing, what I'm called to do, and encourage others to do what is theirs to do in this movement. And if it's just talking to one person at a time, educating a family member, showing videos that show, that give in detail the scientific facts about the unborn while they are in the womb, that's it. It means a lot, and it's having an effect.
Absolutely. Bring us up to date on what's the latest since you've been here. What's happening in Arizona? Is there any legislation or what has been happening? in that respect.
You want to take that, Alan?
Well, I don't know that Arizona has been in the spotlight the way the other states have been, especially.
Thank goodness for some of that,
Thank
right?
God, especially New York, and I believe it was Virginia where they had proposed. Kathy Tran had proposed the bill where, and unbelievably, in the questioning, she admitted, yes, the baby could be killed even if the mother had gone into labor. And thankfully, the Virginia bill was not passed, but unfortunately, the New York one was. And I think in a way it will help because this isn't killing babies after they're born is not a winning issue for the Democrats. And I think the shock of those laws has brought a lot of people to us recently saying, I always thought it was an exaggeration when pro lifers would say next they'll be killing babies after they're born, but obviously now it's true. And you'll even see the legal consequences. There was a case recently where a man in New York stabbed a pregnant 5-month old his fiance because he didn't want the baby. Well, now, because of the New York law, he will be charged with her murder, but previously he would have been charged with both. And so you see the consequence, and then you also hear the polls, things such as 77% of people don't believe that believe that babies born alive after an abortion should be rendered medical care. And you'll hear a lot of semantics with the Democrats trying to say it's not legal till the end, it's not legal when they're born. But if you read the law, it is because they use the same um, slippery slope of it's for the life or the health of the mother. And the way they define health, if you have a hangnail and you just don't feel like having a kid, that's enough. It's not true health and it's not true life. It's it's you know because of the same mentality of Roe v. Wade. And I do think it is in awakening a lot of people that up to now had kind of stayed on the sidelines, but we're getting a lot of calls and contacts from people saying, how can I get involved? Like kind of a little bit embarrassed, like I should have done something sooner. Well, it's never too late to get involved. We always have hope, and that's what we're about. But yeah, these days are really bleak. And to me, it was bad enough that they passed the law, but that they were jubilant about it.
Right,
They
we're
were.
clapping and
They were
Celebrating it.
cheering it. They were cheering it.
So
And
sick.
um, I think our bishop said it best. Love does not rejoice in the wrong, and they were rejoicing in evil.
Yeah.
And to a lot of people, they could be for something, but to have it that gruesome, what is there to cheer about? You're talking about babies. And then, ironically, to hear a few days later Cuomo complaining that Florida is taking our population, and then I saw on Twitter somebody said it's just so unfortunate. If only there was a way that more babies could be born, and it's the
Yeah.
schizophrenia
It
that
is.
will do them in, because on one hand this is supposedly a woman's right and it's not a baby, but then somebody like Megan, Princess Megan gets pregnant, and all of a sudden, what's she expecting? Pro-abortion Amy Schumer gets pregnant, and what is she expecting? She's talking all about her morning sickness and her baby. It's ironic. All of a sudden, that's a baby. Well, I got news for you folks. It's been a baby all along. It's always a baby, and that's the hypocrisy and the schizophrenia is what's going to do them in.
That's a really good way to describe it, the schizophrenia things. Talking about where the health of the mother. I was reading, and this was a doctor who used to do abortions, and I wish I could think of his name. You guys probably know who it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, he said, it would actually be worse for the mother if to have the abortion. It would
Mhm.
be better to deliver the baby, and that would be more to her advantage and her health. So
Correct.
they're talking about the fake news or the fake information,
Right.
the bad information.
Right.
Just give us the facts.
Right. I think I heard that same interview, and he said, as a doctor that had delivered thousands of babies, there's no medical reason to do abortion. And it really is harmful because it's an unnatural act. The body is trying to protect the baby, it's trying to bring life, and you artificially go in there and, a lot of people are rendered sterile after abortion. It is an unnatural
And you
act.
don't hear that. You don't
Yeah,
ever
and
hear
it
those things.
isn't, you know, for the life and the health. I mean, just the fiction that they unleashed in this country with Roe v. Wade. Just finding a constitutional right that did not exist and does not exist in the Constitution. Under that definition, you could kill somebody else for your life or health if you're going to be that broad about it. But that was their intent, and that's what they did, and it makes our job that much harder. But truth wins, life wins, and the truth will win in the end, and it is winning. And I think as bad as it's getting, it's awakening a lot of people, so I think it's good.
Didn't the lady who the case is named after, didn't she regret it after years later?
Well, she actually never had an abortion. You're talking about Norma McCovey, who was the Roe in Roe v. Wade, and they essentially lied about her case. They claimed that she had been raped when she wasn't. And because of the way the law dragged out, they used her case to legalize it. But by the time everything had gone through the courts, her baby was born. She never had an abortion, and she subsequently became pro-life and converted to Catholicism. And she spoke out. I mean, she's, God rest her soul, deceased now, but she spoke out afterwards saying, "I am the, Roe in Roe v. Wade, and I regret." I was 21. Sarah Weddington was the lawyer that used her. And they were looking for a test case, and they lied to her. But that's not surprising because there's nothing truthful about abortion. It's all based on lies. And, that's why I'm hopeful that we will succeed in the end because, we're on the side of the truth, the science. The law needs to catch up, but I think that we'll get there in due time.
Ellen and Nancy, so Planned Parenthood, and when you talked about 1973, you're 14.
Right.
That was about, in 1973, I was in high school. And of all things, it was a child development course that I had, okay? So I think it was like 10th grade, so that's about 14.
Mhm.
And we had a gal from Planned Parenthood come in. I'm sorry, I probably have told the story, but it's irrelevant to me. And the Planned Parenthood gal came in, and we're just, young girls there. And I think, as I think about it, I thought, if our parents knew what happened that day, I think they would have been outraged. And they came in, and they brought this big, long utensil, I'll say, a metal thing with a spoon on one hand, and then a fork-looking thing on the other. And of course, they scared the hell out of us. They said, these women, they go and they have abortions and they poke the fetus and they do this, they scoop it out. Well, after that, gosh, that whole room was probably pro-choice. Nobody wanted anything like that to happen to a woman to do that. But the other side of what was happening. And the abortion was presented to us like, well, all they do is they just, it's a saline solution. It's a very peaceful for the baby, or they probably use the term the baby. But, I mean, those are 14-year-old kids that we were, and very gullible.
Right.
You weren't, because you were, strong enough not to fall for it. But, you were probably the exception to the rule. And that was Planned Parenthood a long time ago, and I'm still very mad at them for that. And I'm sorry, I know you don't want to get political, but please, let's defund Planned Parenthood. They don't need our money.
Right.
They don't need our money. And that's my plea.
I agree.
So tell us, 40 Days for Life, tell us what's going on. What's the next adventures happening?
Oh, the next campaign begins just March 6th through April 14th.
Oh, coming up soon.
Yeah, very, very soon. A week before it begins, we are having an opening mass. That's for the Phoenix 40 Days for Life kickoff. But it's there at St. Mary's Basilica on March 27th at 6:30 p.m. Bishop Olmsted will be celebrating the Mass for us.
Is it March 27th or February 27th?
I'm sorry, February 27th. Yeah,
Okay,
Wednesday,
you're
When
February.
I wrote February, I was
Okay.
I knew what you meant, Nancy.
February, yeah, thank you.
But thanks for correcting us.
As Bishop says, it's really great that we work together. We help each
You
other.
share a brain.
Yeah.
It does say
It does say
February.
February right
Yeah.
there,
It does say
yeah.
February.
Yeah, so February 27th, that's a Wednesday evening, and that's the kickoff of the opening mass. Campaign begins the following week. Each site, so when we come to talk, we want to talk about our particular Phoenix campaign, but we like to represent the other campaigns in the valley, which is the Tempe campaign and the Glendale campaign. There is a Flagstaff campaign going on as well.
Is that
So-
new? Did they have that before?
No, they've been having it every, yeah. they
And
do it
that's
twice a
great.
year. It is. So, what we would encourage is for people to visit the local, the one closest to them and to participate, sign up with that campaign. And then you will see the updates on the events that are coming up, such as any midpoints, any closing events. And then I'm really excited because we have a movie coming out. It's called Unplanned.
Oh yes.
Yes.
That movie's coming out. When is that debuting?
It's debuting on the 30th, actually, March 30th. We are hosting Phoenix, Tempe, and I believe Glendale is hosting a premiere showing the day before on March 29th. Yeah, and so we'll have more information as to where the theaters are going to be, that people can come
Friday.
out. It'll be a free premiere, so you will have to, we'll have information out on our Phoenix 40 Days for Life website for people to find out how they can get tickets for that and come out and join us. And we're asking people to just spread the word. I mean, there's so many videos on YouTube, on Facebook, that show the movie clips. So there's a way for us to promote the movie, get the word out. We want to get as many people out, especially that first weekend. Because that first weekend, if they have a good showing, that means that the movie is going to stay in the theaters longer. So,
We have more theaters.
And so, what's the movie about?
That's just gonna ask.
sure, you want to?
Sure. The movie is actually the story of Abby Johnson. And Abby Johnson was the director of Planned Parenthood in College Station, Texas. College Station is the where 40 Days for Life was born. And ironically enough, when they instituted it as a result of the numbers of abortions locally increasing. And they prayed on it and they said, what can we do to affect the numbers locally? And the term 40 days came to their mind and they just decided to do. They're brave. They did a 24-hour campaign for 40 days. And Abby Johnson at that time was the Planned Parenthood director. And they were so successful that her location closed. It was one of the clinics that closed. And it is currently the 40 Days for Life national headquarters. Talk about what God can do.
Wow.
And what happened was one day, Abby, as a Planned Parenthood director who had, swallowed the Kool-Aid, accepted the lies, she had been counseling women that babies couldn't feel pain and that there wasn't really a baby, it was just, tissue and cell and all this. And one day she had to assist in an abortion, and it was an ultrasound guided abortion. And I believe it was 12 or 13 weeks. And as she watched the screen, she could see the baby trying to escape the instruments because it could feel pain. And, we already know this scientifically because when they do surgeries on babies in the womb, which they do for things like spina bifida, or they sometimes have to drain fluid if they have a baby with hydrocephalus, water on the brain, they have to anesthetize the babies because they can feel pain. But you won't hear any pro-aborts admit that. And
So they're performing an abortion and they're anesthetizing the baby so that they.
Well, in regular surgery for unborn children, not abortion.
Okay, I was gonna say.
So she was witnessing an actual 12, 13-week abortion, in her mind believing the lies still, and watched in horror as the baby fought to get away and then was sucked off the screen, dismembered and sucked off the screen. And that was her turning point where she realized now that I know what I know, I can't do this anymore. And it led to her identity crisis. And she eventually wound up leaving Planned Parenthood. The day she left Planned Parenthood, she went across the street to the headquarters of 40 Days for Life. And she said, you know, I don't know why, but I believed that they would help me. And they did. They got her free legal representation. Planned Parenthood actually made the biggest mistake ever because they sued her, which gave her another platform. And they tried to say she stole all these things, and she won. And her book, Unplanned, is now going to be a major motion picture. And they say that that is incredible what it's going to show and what it's going to do to get the
And
word
I
out.
understand.
So it's her story.
It's her
It is.
story of her life. And it's also, consequently, the story of 40 Days for Life.
Right.
Because her story and their story, converge.
Wow.
So it might have been her interviewing. I can't remember. Too many things in my brain. And now it went out of my head what I was going to ask you. No, I know what it was. I understand that movie, even though what you just described sounds pretty awful, but yet you can take it's not going to be gore, in other words.
No, it's
done
actually
very well.
being made by the producers of the movie Gods Are Not Dead. And they sought her out and said, we want to make this movie. And they did a really good job on it. It's kind of similar, I've heard, but much more dramatic. Gosnell wasn't gory either, but it was very poignant, and it lifted the veil. And that's what this is going to do for Planned Parenthood. Because, let's face it, even their name is a lie. Planned Parenthood.
It is a lie.
It's Planned Unparenthood.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're really excited because it's an opportunity to educate people. We're hoping that people on the fence will go. We're hoping everybody will go, because we're hoping the opposition won't be able to resist going, because it shows the truth. And it's her story, but it's actual, she has subsequently gone on to found a ministry that ministers to abortion workers, because when she came out, there was no such thing. She started a ministry called And Then There Were None, and they've helped over 300 abortion workers, including
500.
500 more, okay,
Yes.
including several doctors, several abortionists leave, because the problem they always face is, how can they just leave? Most of them can't walk away. It's a job. They need the money. This ministry gives them financial aid to be able to escape the lifestyle of abortion and find other work. And it's been phenomenally successful.
Wow.
And it took somebody like her to know there was a need. So it's pretty impressive.
I think that's great, especially on top of the psychological
Right.
your head trip that you're doing when you realize what's going on. I remember talking to, I used to do some medical placement for a little while, and every once in a while a nurse would come in and say, put me here, put me wherever, I can do just about whatever they were. I will not work in an office that has abortion or does abortion. And at that time, it was a long time ago, so.
Right.
But I can't even, there's so many things that they have to go through. That's wonderful to know.
Right.
That is out there.
Right. And
Wow.
she says we love quitters.
Yeah.
That's like their slogan. So yeah.
And we do have she did come to the site over at the Phoenix where we do our prayer vigil. It's called Family Planning Associates. It's at the Papical Medical Building, and so it's 1331 North 7th Street, and that's just off the corner of 7th Street and Lara, which is just south of McDowell. And so a few years back, when Abby came into town, she came down to the site and spoke a little bit to the people that were there. And so we have that clip of her speaking at our particular site on our Facebook page at the Phoenix 40 Days for Life.
What is the Facebook page?
It's 40 Days for Life
Phoenix.
Yeah. 40 Days for Life Phoenix.
I want to encourage our audience too, because you're going to do a free premiere. So maybe you are not pro-life. Maybe you are pro-choice, or just come and watch it. All right, just watch it and have an open mind. And this group, I've gone to some of their activities. Very nice. Everyone there is very nice, very civil, and you will be welcomed. It doesn't matter what you think, but just maybe open your mind and come. It's not going to cost you anything. You just sit for what, an hour and a half, couple hours in a movie, and if you can stay as long as you like or not. Bring a friend if you want to. But whatever side you're on, I mean, of course, obviously, if you're pro-life, I'd love you to come. I want to come. I want to try to make the premiere there. And if not, I will go to the movie because I've been watching a lot of stuff about it. But I really want to encourage those of you who are not pro-life and just come and maybe find out what we're talking about. This is, what's it's based on. This woman, she went through it all. And it's supposed to be so well done.
It is. What I love about it is that this movie it's not just for pro-life people. This movie is for those people who stand with the pro-choice ideology. Okay, so this movie is for those people. This movie is for the abortion workers, the abortionists, those people that really don't know very much about abortion, the issue of it, and why are these pro-life people doing what they're doing. So this movie is going to touch on so many aspects. It doesn't demonize the people. What it demonizes or just exposes is the evil of abortion, the ideology, and that's why we really want those people who are on the fence about it, who don't know very much about it, to come and see it, because they're going to see another side of something that they don't know. These doors have been opened, and they're going to see inside what really happens in an abortion industry.
It's a great opportunity, and if you are pro-life, well, this is a great opportunity to invite someone who is pro-choice.
I think we all know someone
Come
who
with
is.
me. Yeah, everybody has a friend that is, and I'll go with you in case they're like, well, I don't want to go, because some people are afraid. Unfortunately, our culture of fake news. They think you're going to get attacked if somebody doesn't agree with you. No, that's not going to happen. But if you're more comfortable, maybe take your friend who's pro-choice, just come with me and watch it. And it would be just think you're going to have a really good discussion too, no matter what happens. But I want to go see that movie very badly.
And Abby also not only was the director of Planned Parenthood, but it had several abortions of her own.
Yes.
Several.
I think, too. And she even talked about, and then she had also had, while she was working at Planned Parenthood, her oldest daughter. She's now pregnant with her 8th child. She has adopted a child as well, which I love, because they always say, pro-lifers, why don't you adopt?
Why don't you take care of it?
She has. She and her husband. But what's interesting to me about it is that she would talk about, again, the schizophrenia. She's pregnant at Planned Parenthood. And their business is, and they always say, we're an abortion provider. They'll lie and say it's 3%. It's not 3%. But they would give her a baby shower, and then, okay, break's over, let's go back to killing babies. I mean, it's the dichotomy and the schizophrenia. And because this child's wanted, well, this is a baby, but meanwhile, in the next room, the mother with the baby the same age, that's not a baby. I mean, this isn't hocus pocus. It's either a baby all the time or none of the time. And folks, we know the truth. It's a baby all the time from conception.
Yeah.
So, talk to people out there, maybe the moms of the world, and maybe your daughter comes and wants to ask you about abortion, or about what do you tell them? What do you tell someone like that? I mean, I like to. Your site is great because it has a lot of information. Okay, but a lot of times I feel like if I talk to someone, oh, Alice, you're Catholic, and that's just what you believe. That's what you believe, so therefore it doesn't have enough. I said, well, actually, no, you're science. But what are some good guidelines to use when you talk to people?
Well, I think the first thing is, for people that think it's just a religious issue, biology is the foundation for our position, because you can't pass a biology class without recognizing life begins at conception. If you're gonna go to medical school. You've got to recognize that, or you have to tear a lot of pages out of medical books. So I like to say, while a faith might support it, it doesn't determine it.
That's right.
It's biology, not theology. And that's again why I think we'll win. I mean, now we have 4D ultrasound.
4D.
4D. And when people have those scans, there's even these calendars that I've seen where they show the picture of the baby and it says me, and then the baby's born and it says still me. And looking at it, even in the womb, you can tell it's the same baby. It's literally like seeing a photo. And, they know so much more. They can intervene so much easier. I mean, if you just even look at, even if you're not even discussing abortion, but you're looking at some of the other things surrounding, somebody wants a child and some of the lengths they'll go to, they know that that's a baby and that's what their goal is. So, that's another form of science. And, what did we always say about a mother that was expecting? She was with child. She's not with a chihuahua. It's a child.
We never said with fetus.
Right. Right. Which means young one in Latin. Fetus is just a description of the age. It's kind of like fetus, neonate, infant, toddler. It's a description of age. It's not a class. It just means young one. And when you peel back, all the subterfuge, you find, again, the facts and the truth. This is a child. You can call it what you want to describe the development, but it doesn't change what it is. It's still a baby.
I think I was just going to add that for me, when I've been on the sidewalk and I've had people approach me and just want to, ask me questions, and usually sometimes, they hear all of the typical, my body, woman's choice, and they will, yeah, and and a lot of people, I mean, they do recognize this is a child, this is a baby, fetus, it is a human person, but there's a disconnect when you start saying, well, but I can't tell a woman what to do with her body, so how do I approach this? And and so what I've tried to do is touch on the humanity. I mean, we all have inherent dignity. We're all, so I want to make that link between their own personal dignity, whoever they are, wherever they are in their life, and that unborn child's dignity. That you have to make that relationship happen so that they can see that, oh, this isn't just a thing. Oh, so, that baby or that unborn baby's life is just as important as me. You have to make those connections. The value.
To give the value. Well, I never understood, because in our Constitution you have the right to life, and I mean it says life. And when we did that in 1973, wow, that was really a little peek into our changing culture.
Right.
And I believe things cycle around, so I'm of faith like you guys, and I'm thinking, with all the God is providing us with all this wonderful science and technology, and groups like you, and wonderful women like you, and guys too. There's a lot of men. I don't want to exclude the guys too. And I think the guys feel guilty because that term has been used so much. Well, we don't have a right to say what to do. And George has the wonderful story he always shares. And he's not going to share it tonight, but I know that you heard it. But I always think too, and I always bring it up when you guys come, but if a woman is going to have an abortion, I really think she should have to tell the father, because that's also his. She didn't do it alone, and that's where I don't get it. Well, it's between, it's just, she's going to have, but she didn't do it alone. That little baby was not created just with her. She's not, didn't lay an egg or anything. It was somebody else. And I really wish that there would be legislation out there to fight for that. So at least he should be notified and advised of that.
Even though he legally can do nothing to stop it. And that's what tortures a lot of men, because you know, we've heard of cases, we'll have the baby and I'll raise it, and if they can convince them to do it, great. But nope, it's like you say, it didn't spring from nothingness, and yet half that child is half his, but he has no legal rights. And it's sad because we encounter the people on the sidewalk, both those that have had the abortions and those that have counseled for it. And I'll tell you, it doesn't leave them. If this is just such, like somebody said it recently, I think it was Pelosi, it's like having your tonsils out. Well, only if you take your tonsils out and every other part of the body. But they carry that baby to term in their minds and in their hearts, and they always know. Nancy can tell you, they'll come up to us and say, well, it was 50 years ago. And they still have the guilt and they still have the shame. And, we try to say to them, nothing is unforgivable. Can we meet you where you are now and help you? But the thing is that this was such a, oh, it's a nothing operation. Why, we don't say, oh, it was 50 years ago that I had a tonsillectomy and I've never gotten over it. People don't get over it because they're lying to themselves, and the truth of their hearts, they recognize, even if they're not able to stop themselves, what's happening. And that's, again, another reason for hope, because it's the emotional reality. They recognize what they've done. They may not recognize it at the time, but we see them every campaign. They'll come and tell us. They'll stop and tell us, thank God you're here. God bless you for being here. If some of you had been here when I went in, maybe I wouldn't be experiencing this grief and this anguish. So, we hear it from people. And if there was nothing to it other than just snip, snip, you're done, they wouldn't be having these issues, but they do.
What is currently in Arizona? Uh, it's legal to have an abortion up until what trimester?
Up to viability outside the womb. But that can vary because, viability, I mean, there's a lot of children that are surviving at 22 weeks, and that, but if there's something wrong, say the baby was given a diagnosis, a health reason, that can be a reason to go in and do the abortion. Again, the life of the mother, that's kind of ambiguous, I think, yeah, but like at our site, we've seen women come in and they are visibly pregnant, and yeah, and usually we see them and and they're coming in for either the final part of the procedure, which is the delivery of the dead baby, but yeah, so they're pretty far along. Like, you can see it, it's not before 23 weeks. They're past that, and that's really hard. It really is hard, but we've been really blessed. Those are things that we've been able to experience and be able to be that sign of love and mercy to those people. Because like I said, I've seen a woman come out and crying and wanting to throw up and just and they're remorseful because it hits them what's just gone on, and then their body is, I think, like in shock, and they're sent home, and but we have had moments where we've been able to be there to just to be God's presence there, and to
Thank God you are.
Yeah.
We like to say we're the last sign of hope to those going in, and we try to be the first sign of mercy when they come out. But another thing we always like to say is that a lot of people aren't aware when they're doing the chemical abortions that the abortion pills are, if they're taking their first dose, because they have to do it in stages, it's reversible. And over 300 babies have been born when mothers have taken the first abortion pill, had remorse, and then sought help. A Dr. George Delgado had developed a protocol to help these babies, and they have a pretty good track record. The other thing that happens, ironically, on the sidewalk is, yes, we are seeing those babies that are You know, sometimes they're coming in and sometimes they honestly do have a diagnosis that's incompatible with life. But at the very same time, you'll have a mother or father stopping, and we've had this happen, and say, how far do they do abortions here? And we'll say, to 24 weeks. And they'll say, I just had a baby at 24 weeks or 22 weeks at Good Sam, and I'm on my way. Well, now Banner University, I'm on my way right down the street. So you talk about the juxtaposition, and they're saying, thank you, thank you. That's a baby that's in that hospital that I'm going to visit, and thank you for being here.
Well, I can't thank you guys enough for everything you do. So before we finish off, give that information again and how to contact you and anybody that would like to do this, because it's really an experience. Even if you just go to one and you get to see what you'll see there, it's you spend an hour or two out there and you'll see what we're talking about. We can talk about it and give you a lot of information, but go there and be in front of one of those clinics, and you'll see the other side. They're probably also protesting too. What I saw, they were kind of noisy and loud, and but that's okay. And you guys handled it wonderfully, and there was some good exchange of information. But I'm going to give you guys the last few minutes, say whatever you want to say, and give information to our audience out there, and go see the movie.
Yeah, well, I just want to encourage people that, in our time, things are just getting, I think, worse and worse in one respect because we have these laws that are, or these states that are wanting to push abortion all the way up until birth or after birth. And so to me, as terrible as that is, it's the evil that's showing itself. It's doing it because it was so hidden before. Most people didn't even know. Most people think, really, most people think that abortion is only allowed up until the 12 weeks, the third month of pregnancy. And little do they realize that it's been legal all the way up until birth since it became legal in 1973. So, this is an opportunity. This is our time. This is happening. This atrocity has been happening in our lifetime. This is a social justice issue, and it's been happening again in our lifetime. And we bear the responsibility to change things, which is why every campaign we get up, we start pushing forward. We are outreaching to the communities, to churches, other organizations. We need the help, but we need the help there at the abortion sites where the prayer vigils are. We need it getting the word out. We need venues such as this.
Write a check.
Write a check, yeah. Because this is, again, it started out in one place and now it's around the world. And it's just it's a beautiful, awesome movement. It's about, bringing peace to the pro-life movement, mercy, not condemnation towards those that are in the abortion clinic. We know where to focus our attentions on. We know who we're dealing with, what we're dealing with. And it's such a beautiful thing all the way around to be able to see, people come out of the abortion ideology, have conversions, come out of the abortion industry, work for life, pro-life. They're, especially those who have been in it, those who are post-aborted. Those are our teachers. Those are our strongest advocates. I mean, there's the strongest voices out there. They really are. And so I want to encourage anybody that is interested and just doesn't know, has been thinking about it, hates seeing what they're seeing. And, regardless if you're here in Phoenix or you're somewhere else in the country or the world, there's something that you can do. You can be a voice. This is our time. This is a social justice issue that needs to change. This ideology of abortion needs to change. And so I welcome anybody to contact Ellen or I. You can reach my contact information at the 40daysforlife.com/Phoenix website. You can also check out the other local campaigns, the Tempe and the Glendale campaign, and get involved. Just 40daysforlife.com is the easiest way to get in touch with any local campaign around the world.
Great. And don't have to be Catholic.
No,
Don't have to be Catholic. Okay. Don't worry about that.
The pro-life movement has a wide umbrella. We even have Feminists for Life.
Mhm.
And I gotta say, when you talk about the people that have converted, they're only going one way. Bernard Nathanson, Abby Johnson. You don't hear of former pro-lifers that have joined
Yeah.
forces with pro-abortion folks. There's a reason they're only going one way, and it's because they've seen the light and the truth.
That's a really good point. Ladies, thank you. So again, this is Nancy Brady, Ellen Sweeney, 40 Days for Life Phoenix. And it's an honor to know you guys and call you our friends and for what you do. I'm just, my hat's off to you. And, you're always welcome here on the Chips and Salsa Show. We depend on you to keep us informed on what's going on. And maybe we can do a movie night, that movie premiere, and get some
That'd
people
be
to go
awesome.
out there
Mhm.
and do that. But really, I encourage you guys. This is a great organization, and if you're pro-choice, that's okay. Check them out. Come see the movie. Call these guys. Get information. You know what? That's what they're there for.
Mhm.
It's all good.
Thank you.
All right, well,
Alice.
thank you.
George.
Oh, you're
Thank
so
you,
welcome.
George. Come join us. There's
Yeah.
room for everyone.
Now you guys can stay and hang out with us, or if you need to go, I'll say goodbye to you, and George can take over the show. What would you like to do?
Yeah, well, I have to go.
You have to go?
Valentine's Day.
Oh, by the way, yes, happy St.
Happy
Valentine's
Valentine's
Day.
Day, yes.
Okay, so
And Arizona Statehood Day.
yes,
Yeah,
thank
oh.
you for reminding us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a native,
Thank you.
gotta get
That's
that in.
right.
All right. Thank you.
1912. Okay, thanks. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll just so can announce or talk about politics. Here we come. I'll be right back.
Hey, you're
You
welcome.
guys want to take your waters?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Thank you. Thanks for doing that for St. Valentine's Day.
I'm back.
Let me see. Let me move over here.
Oh, you got an umbrella. That's pretty cool.
One.
Fridays for Life store.
Cool. Next time I see you, remember.
Yes, hopefully God will. God years. It's only been 12 years.
There.
Oh, yeah.
Let's put a Trump hat on.
Okay, we'll be in touch.
Here we go. Oh, yeah, put a Trump hat. We were at a Hispanic. It was called the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, and it was the start of the state chapter, and I was there with a few friends, and we got together at the GOP headquarters, and we started the first chapter for the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. And this Hispanic Assembly is going to grow by leaps and bounds. We meet again March the 19th at the GOP center offices. They're going through a remodel. I might want to say that since Kelly Ward became chairman, they're remodeling and updating the GOP offices on 24th. So when you visit that office, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. It's going to be more business-like, more people-friendly. It's something I was really impressed by seeing in all the years that I've been involved with the Republican Party. For them to take that extra step and the extra effort to remodel and give it a new face, a refresh the GOP offices down on 24th. So if you have a chance, stop by. Give them a couple of weeks because it's going to take a couple of weeks. They're in the middle of drywalling and stuff, and then they're going to do the floors. So it's going to be a couple of weeks. But when we have our next meeting of the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, which will be on March the 19th, it's going to be a very, very good meeting. This meeting, we had called it to order. We had about 22 attendees there. We only expected about 10 because it was going to be the first start of this Republican Hispanic Assembly. And there were 22 people that came out, and we had called. There was they called the meeting to order. They had an opening prayer, introductions. Everybody introduced themselves. And what's so odd, we didn't plan it, but everybody that was there had a story to tell. And everybody that was there um, were there for the mission of helping Hispanics and Latinos uh, to bring them into the fold, the Republican Party, go out, register Hispanics, and help them get to the polling place if they have to. It's a lot of things that are being planned with this assembly, and this is.
Did you give the mission already of the assembly? Well, what they're, why they exist?
I didn't get to.
I didn't get to go because I had my Central Republican Women of Phoenix meeting, but I knew George was going to go and cover the whole thing for us. But if you recall last week when we had our show, Terry Mendoza was on and talking about it, and she kind of is heading this thing, coordinating it, I should say. And so I'm excited to make the next one. If it's on March 19th, then
March
I can
the
go
19th,
there.
yeah.
That's on Tuesday.
The purpose is to support the Constitution and laws of the United States of America and the Constitution and laws of every state and territory to the end that the government shall be truly and in fact a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. To support principles, objectives, platforms of the Republican Party of the United States of America. To develop a strong, effective, informed, and educated Hispanic constituency throughout the nation. To encourage able and qualified American Hispanics who are registered Republican voters to seek office at all levels of government. That's to bring people out and run for office. So in communities where there's primarily Hispanic populace, we want to see Hispanic representation for the people. And we've been asking for this for a long time. And now we're going to start encouraging this. To increase the number of Hispanics voting Republican and proactively get them to the polls. Isn't that a fantastic
So it's like a
concept?
major outreach for Republicans who happen to be Latino, which we've had it, but they sound like that's really a hardcore mission, huh?
Okay, and to elect Republican candidates to office at all levels of government. Isn't that a good concept? Put Hispanics in office. To develop viewpoints and positions on local, state, and national issues, and to seek implementation of these viewpoints through local, state, and national Republican organizations, and to ensure the participation of citizens of Hispanic heritage in the American political process and the Republican Party. We want to create an envelope and bring Hispanics in, because the Democrats have been lying a long time and using the Hispanics as their their whipping toy. I mean,
I'm sorry, George.
They take advantage.
Of pawns. The Latinos are used.
You know,
are used.
And they've done it to the blacks. They've done it to the Orientals. All what they do, they try to find the weakness, and then they blame it on the Republicans. We have to get out of that mindset. Everybody has to think for themselves. Hispanics, when you're raised in a conservative family, and they take these kids and they try to indoctrinate them in school, and the kids are confused. We're going to open up the minds of kids, the minds of adults, and try to change that here in Arizona. And through the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, and for short, it's what's it?
RNH.
RNHA.
So George, it's national, but this is the start of the Arizona chapter. Do
This
all
is-
states have a chapter? Or
I think there's about 17 states that are in this national organization. It's going to be even bigger in the future. They're having their convention in 2020, so in their convention, it's going to be big, and our president is going to be running for re-election. A lot of senators are going to be running for re-election. A lot of congressmen are going to be running for re-election. And in the states also, they're going to be running for re-election for the state offices. And that's what we're going to try. We're going to try to get every state, our state in particular, we're going to go for the school boards. We're going to go for the city councils. We're going to go for the mayors. Then we're going to go for the state house and the state senate. And we're going to try to bring the Republican back to as a big majority like it was before. And it's going to be the help of the Hispanic people, because the Hispanic Latino people are growing, and it's
didn't
fantastic.
Terry say, like, that, I mean, we could become a very relevant, almost a majority. So this is really important stuff that we're doing. Unfortunately, right now, there are more Latinos who are Democrats than Republicans. They mostly are, and like George says, it's hard to understand because really the Republicans are conservative and Latino culture is conservative. But if you don't know that, you're not going to know that.
And you get raised in a family that's been indoctrinated and fooled to think that the Democratic Party is the only party that they can be in and be represented. I know a lot of Hispanics and Latinos that are Republicans and proud Republicans. We just have to go to the people that aren't and the people that are confused and show them the correct path.
Well, I'm excited about that. I'm going to go to the next meeting, and Terry Mendoza has kind of an open invitation, so she might come back and keep us posted on the progress of this organization. So if you live in the Phoenix area, even anywhere in Arizona, and you'd like to come, should they contact Terry, or what's the best thing for them to do?
Come to the GOP office March the 19th.
Yeah, but if they want more information, is there a website or?
They're in the process of developing the website.
What you can do if you'd like, email me and I'll put you in touch with Terry. You can just email me, Alice at chipsletterandsalsashow.com, and I'll make sure that your number gets to Terry and she can give you a call, or I'll get the right email from her. I hesitate to give something out because maybe she has a specific point of contact information.
And everybody's welcome that wants to help. That if you're Latino and you want to help, if you're Hispanic and you want to help, or if you're not a Hispanic, you don't have to be Hispanic, and you want to help, and you can contribute to the expansion of this organization that's going to grow by leaps and bounds. Take my word for it. We didn't expect as many as we got just yesterday, people, and the testimonials that we heard there were fantastic. So all I can say is come to the next one, be our guest, and help us start this movement. This movement's going to start regardless. It's already started. We've already formed the chapter, and now it's us to go in there and boots to the ground and assist the Republican Party and bringing more unity within the Republican Party between Hispanics, blacks, Orientals, whites, everybody. We don't exclude nobody. The Republican Party is a melting pot, and people have to understand that. They thought the Democratic Party was the only melting pot, but that's not true. Things have changed.
George, a perfect example was that. Did you get to watch the president when he went to El Paso this last week?
Oh, it was fantastic.
It was in El Paso, and our El Paso friends out there, I was texting my friends, like, are you in there? No, I wish I was, whatever. But if you just looked behind our president, it was just 1,000 feet from the border. And I used to live in El Paso. They were at the Coliseum, where I saw many a concert. Uh, and there were plenty of Latinos in the background that I saw, supportive of our President Trump, supportive of the wall. Now, I was watching some headlines here, and it looks like, George, they're going to find $8 billion for the wall. Is that what I was seeing? Did you check it out?
Well, they're going to take it from Chapel?
I don't know, but I was watching the headlines. I'm going to look that up. But did you get to listen to his speech that he did?
I didn't have. I was working that day, but I haven't. I did record it. I've heard most of it. Yeah.
It was a really great speech, and again, he repeated his message of this will not be a socialist country.
I mean, how I can't understand how people can be even in the Democratic Party now with this movement that they have, the socialistic movement that that the Democratic Party has embraced, and they're going gung ho on it. They want to change our country socialistic. They want to tax us off of the wazoo. They want to pay people for not working. They want to stop airplanes from flying. They want to stop the cows from farting. I mean, the only way you can stop them is get rid of them. I mean, it doesn't make sense. And they want to tax us 70%. I mean, the people it's going to hurt are the lower class people. The people it's going to hurt everybody, but it's going to hurt more people in the minority communities. This is not going to work. And if you're a Democrat, you got to be saying to yourself, how can I support these people? Come to our party.
It's a good thing that all these extremes are happening. So this is from the Daily Caller. So Trump frees up $8 billion to build the wall. It says, according to, let's see, President has freed up $8 billion from various government agencies to build the wall, according to Fox News' Brian Kilmeade. I was watching that right before we started the show. So he plans on signing a bipartisan congressional bill that provides limited border wall funding and declaring a national emergency at the southern border. So, I mean, you know what? It needs to be done, and it's semantics, a wall, a fence, whatever, it's needed. It's needed. And I support our president. Oh, by the way, did you see this great sign that George got? This is really nice, George. It's really nice. And it's already begun, don't you think? The campaign.
Oh, the campaign.
2020. Is that what your hat is? You have you have a 2020.
I have a 2020 hat. This one is.
Okay, you keep telling the audience I'm going to get the 2020 hat so we can. But that's a great hat in itself.
And what I would encourage everybody that's listening is to come by and see what we're all about at the Hispanic, the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. The people have a passion, and we were there yesterday. We had the visit by our chairwoman of the Republican Party, Arizona Republican Party, Kelly Ward, Dr. Kelly Ward, and she came and met with all of us, and she brought us some Valentine's Day candy. Would you?
Oh, you know what? I got some candy too. Did you have some of our candy? It is Valentine's Day.
It was nice. She was showing her support for this fantastic movement, and this movement is going to help the Republican Party also. So it's a movement that's going to bring a lot of people together. We want to bring unity to the party again, and this is one way. Last week, our chairwoman, she was at the Chinese. What is it? They had the Chinese festival, and she was there all weekend. Each day she showed up, and she was there representing the Republican Party. The Republican Party had a booth there, and it was fantastic.
Did you get to go to that?
No.
I tell you what, the population we have a Republican, the Asian Republicans, and our good friend Andy Zhang, who's been on the show. These guys are hardworking. They're organized. When we had a walk for Moses Sanchez, a bunch of them came and came do that in my house, and they are just, you talk about gung ho, because that's the thing too. The passion of the Latinos and the Black population, African American population, Asians. We're excited. We're excited about the chance to be a part of this movement because we've got a great platform that's pro-life, pro-liberty, and we're capitalists. We want to make a good living so we can live in America and stay free. And I just, we want everybody to be a part of that. Are we a perfect party? No.
Nope.
We are not a perfect party. But what is perfect? But there's no way I could be the other part of the other party. Could you, George?
No, I
We
mean,
were. Both of us were Democrats before.
I was a Democrat. I was a union leader in California. I believe I was doing good for the people, but the unions have gone over the hill. They're bankrupting states and people. The unions aren't what they used to be.
Speaking of, because that was in California, right?
Yeah.
So our good friend Sid de la Fuente is not here tonight, and he is from California. He's founder of CALO, Conservative American Latino Organization. He had to work this evening, so he couldn't be here. Maybe he'll be here next weekend. Those of you who watch our show on a regular basis, he's usually here. He's a great natural partner for us. But one of the things that he's real excited about, and we are too, is one of the other ways that you can be involved is to become a precinct committeeman. Now, we just celebrated a couple of days ago Lincoln's birthday, and as Ellen was reminding us, today is Arizona's statehood birthday. And again, happy St. Valentine's Day to everybody out there. But you don't know what a precinct committeeman is, committee woman, whatever. Committeeman, it's all encompassing. I'm going to tell you real quick, there's a lot of power in doing that. That's kind of like the very grassroots level of representing your community. George and I are both precinct committeemen. I'm a state committeeman as well. And these are our good friend Janet Contreras did the show a few months ago. And she had found me. She found a box of these little pamphlets. And I was checking this out. And I'm going to read the paragraph, the duties of the precinct committeeman. And kind of basically, I'll let you know. So in your legislative districts in Arizona, you have precincts, like our precinct happens to be Ardmore. And each precinct has one precinct committeeman. For every 125 registered Republicans, then we have another one. So let's say that we had 126 people living in the precinct, we'd have 2 precinct committeemen. But here's the duties of the precinct committeeman, okay? The precinct committeeman is the person who is legally charged with getting out the vote on election day. If he does his job well, he'll ring the doorbell of every household in the precinct and ask polite questions to find out the party and other political views of every voter, because we want to know our community, okay? Yeah, we're nosy, sure we are, but we want to know our community, and that's called canvassing. Then before each election, the precinct committeeman will personally deliver campaign literature, like a marked sample ballot, and we don't always do all this stuff, but we should and we could, to every voter who's expected to vote for your party or the candidate, because we want to promote, of course, we're Republican precinct committeemen, so we want to promote our Republican candidates. Then the precinct committeeman makes sure that all his voters get to the polls on election day. This is the way elections are won. Now, that's what we should be doing, and we work towards that. And unfortunately, it's not a perfect world, but that is one way to get involved. You have meetings monthly. You can go and meet others that are also Republicans. We had a wonderful meeting the other night here in LD 27. We had 2 really good speakers. I'm sorry you couldn't make it, George.
Yeah, I was at the Hispanic.
Yeah, you were no, that was Tuesday was our meeting. You're talking yesterday was our women's club.
I was.
We're busy. We're doing political stuff all the time. But we had 2 speakers. We had Stephen Richer, and he's kind of checking out the election stuff going on in Arizona, actually Maricopa more precisely. And then also we had Jose Borajero, and we need to probably have him on as a guest soon.
Yeah.
And he was talking about getting involved and representing yourself down at the legislature. But it was very exciting out here in South Mountain. We have a high Latino population. We had about 50 people come out. And so that's why I always try to invite you next week. Again, you could email me, Alice at chips, letter N Salsa Show.com, and I can give you information. Or you can go, we have a Facebook site. It's South Mountain GOP. You can also go just to the state GOP website. I haven't gone there lately, but they seem to be really getting organized. You could probably get a lot of information from there. And then your LD also
Right.
meets too.
Yeah, we meet on usually the second Monday of the month or second Tuesday of the month.
So same as our, not same night as ours.
No, actually,
Or
it's the
just like-
second Monday,
Oh, second
and
Monday.
then you guys meet on the Tuesday. Yeah.
And that's, when we say LD, it's legislative district. There are 30 of them in Arizona. And yours is 19?
Ours is 19. It's Avondale, uh, Tullison, Avondale, and parts of Whittier.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's see. It's 8 o'clock, George, but is there anything else that we didn't touch on that we
When
need
is the
to?
Bikers USA?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Let's see. So, Riders USA.
Yes.
Riders USA celebrate and protect the Second Amendment. That's going to be this Saturday, George, on the 16th, from
Okay.
noon to 2 at the Arizona State Capitol. Our good friend Valerie Roller will be out there, and her husband George Sprankle, and a bunch of real cool people. Are you going to go to that? You going to try to go?
I may, because I just have a training that I have to go to at 10 a.m. So then I'll swing on to the state capitol, and
Then you go to the Levine barbecue after that for our.
then you guys have a barbecue going on at the same
It's
time.
busy. It's
Yeah,
busy.
I'll be a busy camper on Saturday.
But you know, they always have a good event, Riders USA, and they're a great
Yeah.
organization.
And they have a lot of speakers that are.
Oh yeah,
slated to
where's my
speak.
list? They have a lot of really good speakers. Oh, you know what? Talk to the people and I'll find that if you go,
Okay.
because I've got it.
And she did mention the Reverend Clyde Bowen, AARC chairman, has announced the Freedom EPOD 7 is scheduled between 12:30 and 4 p.m. on February the 23rd at Eastlake Park, and that's on at 15149 East Jefferson in Phoenix. And speaker includes Barry Wong, Governor Ducey's proclamation, AZGOP Chairwoman Dr. Kelly Ward, AARC Vice Chairman Dr. C.T. Wright, MCRC Chair Leah Korninsky.
Ray Chernenke.
Yeah,
Ray
Korninsky.
Chernenke.
LD 23 Representative Jay Lawrence, State Treasurer Kimberly Lee, and then LD 6 Representative Bronze Star awardee Walt Blackman, and it's going to be a great day, and that's on February the 23rd from 12:30 to 4 p.m.
So,
at Eastlake Park.
and
Don't
that's
miss
not this weekend, so the next week.
The
So
next
Riders USA, here's the speakers. Really a very good lineup. And that noise, I'm sorry, that noise, it's a vacuum. It's one of those Roombas.
Got a mind of its own.
It's vacuuming the carpet. Okay, David Kopp, AZCDL president, and Cheryl Todd, she's with Gun Freedom Radio. Jeff Knox, the Firearms Coalition. Marissa Hamilton, gun rights advocate. Carrie Lightfoot, the well-armed woman. We need to have, this is like a good guest lineup, okay?
Yeah.
If you go down there, would you book all these people? Kelly Townsend, she's our Arizona representative for LD16. Dr. Charles Luftus, he's been on our show. He's a criminal justice professor. Alan Gottlieb, the Second Amendment Foundation, and Brandon Tatum, who was on our show last week. And Brandon Tatum, he's the urban development director, or the urban director, pardon me, with Turning Point USA. And you can go to the Riders USA website to check it out. And they also have a Facebook page. And what I'm doing, I'm going to give a shout out to Frosty Taylor. I don't know how she does it, George, but if you're a Republican in Maricopa, you need to subscribe to the Republican Briefs, because every day in your email, in your inbox, you get this really cool link, and it tells you all the stuff that's going on in our county, Republican-wise. You get editorials, you get activities like these with good details. It tells you about the Chips and Salsa Show. She's very nice about posting things like that for us. I mean, that's where I have all my information, and then like just like I did it right now, I just go right here and I can tell you what the heck's going on. So thank you, Frosty. I want to give you a special thank you because you're so patient. You know, I email her stuff and ask her to post it, and I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she does it, but I'm up at 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning sometimes. Boom, it's there in my email, and I can just go down there and see what's going on.
And you can see past emails. I mean past postings. If you
Yeah, go to the website.
They have a blog of past postings and stuff. So it's an interesting page, and she does a great job.
She does a wonderful job, and we really appreciate it. And that's just, it's called the Republican Briefs, and I was going to give you, it's republicanbriefs.org. So Republican Briefs, BRIEFS.org.
And it's free.
Yeah, and it's free. All that information. I mean, I couldn't do it. It would take forever to try to do that. Okay, George, what do we got going? So this weekend's a busy weekend. Next week,
Yes.
Do we have anybody booked for next week? Probably Sid will be back. Sid de la Fuente. Lydia might be too.
Lydia, and she was elected at that assembly as a treasurer.
Way to go,
voted
Lydia.
We voted Nick Pearson as secretary.
Way to go, Nick.
Diana Parsons, Ortiz Parsons, no relation, but a good friend, and she was voted first vice chair.
All right, then.
And Terry Mendoza was voted as a chairman. And there's going to be other officers and other committees that are going to be formed when we meet again on March the 19th. So the board is going to get much bigger, and it's going to have a media representative. I mean, it's just going to get bigger. So don't forget that meeting, March the 19th.
So I want to thank you, Chipsters, for joining us tonight. We hope you got your guac on because we did. Hopefully, I'm going to try to get back on Facebook this week. It's one of those processes, and I just haven't had time to do it. But I'm not ignoring you. I just haven't been able to be on there. That's all there is to it. It's kind of nice, I have to tell you. You know what? We spend a lot of time on Facebook, but unfortunately, it's necessary.
She's on Facebook jail.
Facebook jail, yeah. So before we sign off, George, anything? Thank you very much for all your help getting us up online because we broadcast on Facebook and then also on YouTube. And how do you find us on YouTube?
You go to Conservative
Salsa?
Conservative Talk.
Conservative Talk? Okay.
And go to Sonia Salsa S.
Oh, and thank you to our producer who helps us put this together and get us online. Armin, our incredible intern, is supposed to come back. He's been really, really busy, but we're hoping to get him back. And if you'd like to intern and help us out, you know what? Contact us. It's all good. It's great.
We can use all the help.
Yes, we need all the help we can get. So, Trump 2020, keep America great. Guac on with the Chips and Salsa
Great
Show.
to end abortion.
Great to end abortion. Thank you, Nancy and Ellen Sweeney. They did a wonderful job. Great guests. And please support them if you can. And the movement. And so until next Thursday at 7 p.m., I'm Alice Lara with
Don Jorge Alacran. And also, if you can help at the GOP level, at the state office, volunteering, answering phones, go down and volunteer. This is a united party where all Republicans come together, and we all want to make this party strong. We have some tough races ahead, and we need everybody's help. We need to get out and in your neighborhood and sign up PCs. If you're not a PC, sign up to be a PC, a precinct committeeman, and also go out and sign up your friends to become precinct committeemen.
And George, I have one more little story because I had a question. In the past, when I've called the AZGOP fairly recently, nobody was even there to answer the phone. Today, I called them. Guess what? I got an answer. Matt answered the phone. I gave him my question. He said, you know what, Alice? Let me take your number, and I'll call you back with an answer. And I thought, okay, great. And I thought, well, you know, maybe he'll call me today or tomorrow. Within 15 minutes, he called me back, and he had an answer. He had checked out for me. So I just want to give a special little salute to that because that tells me things are on the right path. I was able to actually talk to a real person, friendly, nice. Shout out to Matt. I think his last name is Grimm. I hope I have that right. So Really appreciate it. Dr. Kelly Ward is going to rock it, and we're
She's
going to
gonna do
help
a
her.
great job. She's gonna be a great chairwoman of the Republican Party.
So walk on and have a wonderful rest of the St. Valentine's Day, and thank you for listening and watching. Tell your friends about us. Walk on.
Walk on.
Okay, okay. Happy Valentine's Day. I wonder how noisy that thing was. At least it went out of the room. Usually it's right when you don't want it.
Hmm.
Yeah, you know what? She forgot her sign, but I told Nancy, if you want to leave it, we'll just post it every time. Oh,
54 views. This one. Oh, let's see how I.
and then and that's without any sharing at all, because I can't share on my thing. I gotta get on Facebook. I gotta take care of that. That's my goal for tomorrow.